SpaceX is notorious for getting into accidents and randomly sending bits and pieces flying across the land, at a terrible cost to the environment, but then again, have billionaires and climate change ever gotten along? But it looks like this space junk might not be junk entirely. In this video, we'll discuss what two unsuspecting farmers were shocked to find in Australia. First off, space debris in the snowy mountains of Australia. The Australian Space Agency's no stranger to getting calls claiming that some farmer or the others made an alien discovery. We can't blame them either. There's something fascinating about the possibility of crop circles being formed by UFOs. Astrophysicist Brad Tucker said he even thought people often call because they think they found space debris. The burned metal discovered by the two farmers is very real. Last Thursday, he received a call from Mick Miners and Jock Wallace, two sheep ranchers in the little village of Dalgety, who reported finding a burned object. Coincidentally, a SpaceX spacecraft was re-entering the Earth's atmosphere almost 20 months after its first launch at the same time, so it wasn't hard to put two and two together to see the connection between the two events. And the answer spells something like a disastrous explosion. You think the guys over at SpaceX might have given up by now after all the failed launches and explosions, but no, they seem to have an iron stomach for it. Second, so how did Tucker make the connection between the two? Tucker was introduced to the farmers through ABC local radio, where he's a regular guest and discusses space. The Space Dragon capsule was seen breaking apart above Australia, where the farmers found the debris. People from Canberra to Bendigo have seen and heard about his re-entry, with many sharing it on social media. Talk about a grand entry. He wasn't convinced right away though, so he drove a good 2 hours to the miners' property to verify if the thing they'd found was actually the rocket's unpressurized trunk, a structure needed for takeoff, but detaches before re-entry. At first glance, it looked a lot like a burned tree or an alien obelisk, as he described it, but it didn't take him long to figure out that it was a SpaceX mistake because the panel had a part number on it, which the company probably used to recognize their capsules. He knew it was real because it was built of heat-resistant composite materials, including woven carbon fiber for insulation. It also displayed obvious evidence of burning upon re-entry. He posted a video of the discovery on YouTube. SpaceX still hasn't confirmed if it belongs to them and hasn't even responded to a query from The Guardian. And that was only the first piece they found. The third piece of debris was found in the same place. This came after the recovery of two pieces from Numbla. One of the pieces of debris was nearly 3 meters long and was wedged deep in the ground. On July 14, a Moonba resident noticed and photographed the third piece. The owner, though, didn't come forward until late July, when ABC covered the space trash. And apparently, the Australian Space Agency reported that they're still looking for more pieces of the capsule in the area, and that they've asked anyone who finds any more to report it. According to Tucker, the debris finding might be Australia's greatest space junk since parts of NASA's Skylab space station crashed to Earth near the southwestern Australian town of Baladonia in 1979. He added that there was still much to learn about what could be done with the things, if the US claims them at all. Finally, space debris will probably keep falling from the sky. SpaceX isn't the only one to send debris flying onto the Earth. Things have started raining from the sky lately, and no, it's not cats and dogs. Thankfully, no one's been injured, but two recent space debris episodes serve as a timely reminder that what goes up must also come down. Over the weekend, a massive Chinese rocket disintegrated in the stratosphere above Southeast Asia, with major chunks of the 24 metric ton booster falling in Indonesia and Malaysia. Some of the rubble landed within 100 meters of a neighboring town, but no casualties were recorded. These came from a Chinese Long March 5B rocket, launched on July 24 to carry a module to China's new Tiangong space station. There's a pretty solid explanation behind this. Basically, the core stage and 4 solid rocket boosters are positioned on the side of the huge rocket. The rocket's core stage serves as the upper stage, bringing the cargo into orbit because the YF-77 engines can't be restarted when used for low Earth orbit missions. The core stage normally re-enters the atmosphere roughly 1 week after launch. This causes an uncontrolled re-entry through the atmosphere, and while the majority of the 30-meter-long rocket breaks apart due to heating, large parts reach the Earth's surface. This time, it appears that much of the debris landed in the Sulu Sea, which lies between the Philippines and Borneo. But as countries continue going into space and finding out whether or not alien species exist, regulatory authorities are finally taking notice. Rocket companies are doing a better job of making sure the upper stages are disposed of safely, often by conserving enough fuel to deorbit the stage into the Pacific Ocean. But what we do need is more transparency, especially when it comes to the debris. Neither SpaceX nor China has commented about the debris they left. That's like discreetly littering and hoping no one one will notice. And here's some other related news you might have missed out on. First off, NASA cleared media access for SpaceX Crew mission launch. There's nothing like getting to see astronauts going into space, and NASA gave us that opportunity again by giving the media permission to watch and record Crew Mission 5 going into space. The Falcon 9 rocket's mission is part of NASA's Commercial Crew Science Expedition program. We're expecting the launch to take place on September 29, and the starting point is Launch Complex 39A, which is located in the Florida Kennedy Space Center that belongs to NASA. The rocket's got a pretty interesting group of people on board. The Crew 5 launch will include 2 NASA astronauts, Mission Commander Nicole Mann and pilot Josh Casada, as well as mission specialist JAXA astronaut Koichi Wakata and Roscosmos cosmonaut Anna Kikina. Mann, Casada, and Kikina are making their first space flight. Wakata's a veteran though. This will be his 5th trip. After enough time passes for a crew handover, the astronauts who left for the previous mission will return on the Dragon Freedom SpaceX craft in October. Second, what's Swarm been doing since it got acquired by SpaceX? It's been over a year since the company bought out satellite Internet of Things connection provider Swarm, and Swarm co-founder and CEO Sarah Spangelo, now Senior Director of Satellite Engineering at SpaceX, is ready to talk about what Swarm has been up to. We were interested in finding out about Spangelo and Swarm's experiences because SpaceX isn't known for being a very acquisitive corporation. She described the last 10 months as 10 months of fast acceleration. One of Swarm's main roadblocks in terms of speed of deployment and network expansion was the launch of its tiny satellites. The business claims they're the smallest operational satellites in orbit, measuring just larger than a sandwich size. Spangelo shared that unlocking launch availability has been one of the biggest advantages of working under the SpaceX umbrella so far. These experimental payloads have helped the company improve its overall latency to the point where it can now guarantee latency of less than 1 hour. Basically, a Swarm satellite passes overhead at any given point on Earth at least once an hour. This opens up a wide range of new customer categories and applications for its low bandwidth, hyper-efficient connectivity services. That's a really crucial threshold in that area if you're performing any type of monitoring, whether it's floods, water, forest fire detection, agriculture applications, logistics applications. Spangelo noted, being low latency has opened up a variety of interesting new use cases and clients. Finally, Elon Musk is launching thousands of satellites. SpaceX has launched hundreds of satellites into space. Many people have already spotted them in the sky. That's got to be only a step lower than catching a UFO. They're part of the Starlink project, which promises to deliver high-speed internet from orbit to remote locations on Earth. Starlink delivers internet access through a vast network of satellites. Sure, the internet reaches developed countries just fine, but the whole point of Starlink is to get to more remote areas where people don't really have access to high-speed internet. Starlink satellites have been placed in low Earth orbit around the Earth to maximize connection speeds between the satellites and the ground. Starlink is estimated to have launched 3,000 of these into orbit since 2018. According to Chris Hall, the director of PocketLint, they're going to eventually need 10,000 or 12,000 units. They already have 400,000 in the 36 countries they presently serve, most of which are in North America, Europe, and Australasia. This includes both houses and businesses. Starlink intends to expand its service further throughout Africa, South America, and Asia next year, places of the world where internet connection is spotty. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think SpaceX should compensate the farmers for damages to their property? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.